The blade kissed Sebastian's throat. Any last words? Defect. The executioner's voice echoed across the Ascension Festival grounds where 5,000 wolves had gathered, not to celebrate, but to watch Sebastian Lewton die. 23 years old. Never shifted. No mate bond. The ultimate disgrace to their kind. Sebastian closed his eyes. At least the mockery would finally end. Then a roar shattered the dawn. Primal, possessive, world-ending. And the executioner went flying, his body crashing through 3 festival banners before hitting the ground 30 feet away. Sebastian's eyes snapped open. The Alpha King stood where the executioner had been, chest heaving, eyes blazing crimson instead of their usual gold. King Theron Hathaway. The wolf who'd united the territories through sheer brutal dominance, who'd never taken a mate, who'd ruled alone for a decade, was trembling. Mine. Theron growled, and his voice wasn't human anymore. Mine. Before Sebastian could process it, before he could breathe, the king grabbed him, hauled him against a chest that felt like granite, and buried his face in Sebastian's neck. The scent, oh gods, the scent. Pine and thunder and something that made Sebastian's knees buckle, made heat coil in his belly, made his empty, dormant wolf scream in recognition after 23 years of silence. Mate. No. Sebastian choked out. That's not. You can't. Shift. The command roared through Sebastian's body like lightning. Every cell, every nerve, every instinct he'd never had suddenly ignited in obedience to his mate. His alpha, his king pain. Blinding, agonizing, beautiful pain exploded through his bones as something locked away, something broken, finally tore free. Light erupted from his skin. Not the normal gold of common wolves, but iridescent, shimmering through colors that had no name, that legends whispered about, that marked him as the transcendent Omega. Someone in the crowd breathed. The prophecy. Sebastian's scream became a howl as his body finally shifted. When the light faded, dead silence blanketed the festival grounds. Because standing beside the Alpha King, protected by his body, claimed by his scent, was a wolf bathed in ethereal colors. Silver blue melting into violet, melting into rose gold, an aurora made flesh. The legendary Omega who appeared once every 1,000 years. The one prophesied to either save the kingdom or destroy. Theron's hand buried in Sebastian's fur, possessive and gentle all at once. You're mine, the king said, his voice carrying across 5,000 witnesses. His eyes found the crowd. The same wolves who'd thrown stones, who'd spat on Sebastian, who'd cheered for his execution. Anyone who ever touched him has 1 hour to flee my territories. After that, I'm hunting you down myself. His smile was murder wrapped in silk. He's mine. He's always been mine. And I will paint this kingdom red before I let anyone hurt him again. Sebastian's wolf whimpered. Not in fear, but in something deeper, something that felt like home after a lifetime of being lost. The king's hand tightened in his fur. Shift back, Omega. I need to see your face. I need to. His voice cracked. I need to know you're real. And as Sebastian shifted back, smooth, effortless, easy now that his wolf had finally awakened, he found himself naked in the king's arms, vulnerable before thousands, but feeling safer than he'd ever felt in his life. Theron's coat wrapped around him instantly. Then those golden eyes, returned from crimson, but still burning with possession, locked onto his. What's your name? The king asked, voice rough. Sebastian. Sebastian Lewton, your majesty. Sebastian. Theron tested it, and the way he said it, like a prayer, like a curse, like a promise, made Sebastian shiver. My mate. My Omega. His thumb traced Sebastian's jaw. I've been waiting 35 years for you. I'd started to think the moon goddess had forgotten me. His eyes darkened. And she gave me you. The one Omega in my kingdom I almost executed. The horror in his voice was palpable. What have I done? Okay, I need to know, are you breathing right now? Because I'm not. The Alpha King just claimed the Omega he was about to execute. Can you imagine? Drop a comment and tell me. Do you think Sebastian can forgive him? And hey, if you're new here and loving this chaotic energy, hit that subscribe button because the story is about to get so much more intense. Where are you watching from? Let me know below. Now, where were we? Oh right, Sebastian just became the most precious thing in the kingdom, and the king is spiraling. Sebastian couldn't speak, couldn't think past the feeling of the king's hands on him. One cupping his face, the other spread possessively across his lower back, keeping him close. You were going to kill me, Sebastian whispered. I know. Theron's jaw clenched. I was. And I would have succeeded if... He stopped, eyes squeezing shut. If I'd been 1 second faster with that blade. If you'd bled just a little more. If your scent hadn't hit me when it did. But it did, Sebastian said, surprising himself with his own steadiness. I'm alive. You're alive. Theron's eyes opened, and they were molten. And you're mine, and I'm never letting you out of my sight again. His hand slid into Sebastian's hair, tilting his head back with careful dominance. Do you understand what you are, Sebastian? What you've always been. Be broken, legendary. Theron's voice dropped to a growl that vibrated through Sebastian's chest. You're the transcendent Omega. The one the prophecy spoke of. The one who... He stopped, something dark crossing his face. The one who will either stand beside me and strengthen my throne, or destroy everything I've built. Sebastian's breath caught. What? But before Theron could answer, a voice cut through the crowd, cold, calculating, dripping with barely concealed ambition. Your Majesty, the council demands an audience. Immediately, Sebastian turned to see a man in elaborate crimson robes stepping forward, flanked by 6 others in the formal dress of the High Council. Council member Harker, the king's chief advisor, and from the look on his face, calculating, hungry, threatening, this wasn't good. But there was something else in Harker's eyes when he looked at Sebastian, something that looked almost like recognition. Theron's arm tightened around Sebastian protectively. Not now, Harker. I'm afraid it can't wait, Your Majesty. Harker's eyes slid to Sebastian, and something in that gaze made Sebastian's newly awakened wolf bristle with instinctive warning. The discovery of a transcendent Omega changes everything. There are protocols, ancient laws, and the council must vote on whether he's suitable to be your mate. Vote! Theron's growl made the ground vibrate beneath their feet. You want to vote on my mate? The law is clear, Your Majesty. A transcendent Omega cannot take their place beside the throne without council approval. Too much power. Too much risk. Harker's smile didn't reach his cold eyes. After all, the last transcendent Omega brought the Southern Kingdom to its knees 1,000 years ago, destroyed 3 territories before they were stopped. He paused, and his next words were delivered with surgical precision. By their own mate, who had no choice but to kill them to save the kingdom. The crowd's murmur turned fearful, and Sebastian felt it like a physical blow. The shift in the air. The way people who'd just witnessed his transformation with awe were now looking at him with fear instead. With suspicion. With the same disgust they'd always shown him, but now mixed with terror. He wasn't just the broken Omega anymore. He was the dangerous Omega. They're going to try to take you from me? Theron said, his voice low and deadly against Sebastian's ear. The council, the old bloodlines, everyone who's ever wanted my throne will see you as either a weapon to control or a threat to eliminate. His hand fisted in the coat wrapped around Sebastian's shoulders. But I want you to understand something, Omega. I want you to hear this clearly. He turned Sebastian to face him fully, coat slipping slightly, and spoke loud enough for the entire festival, for all 5,000 witnesses, for the council, for the old bloodlines to hear. I am the Alpha King, I have conquered 12 territories, defeated 40 challengers, and ruled this kingdom with absolute authority for 10 years. His eyes blazed crimson again. And I would burn it all, every territory, every alliance, every law, before I let anyone separate me from my mate. His hand cupped Sebastian's face with devastating gentleness that contrasted sharply with the violence in his words. You're mine, Sebastian Lewton, and I'm yours. And anyone who tries to break our bond will learn exactly why wolves fear me. Then he kissed him. Not gentle, not tentative. Claimed him in front of 5,000 witnesses, the council, the old bloodlines, in front of everyone who would try to tear them apart. Kissed him like Sebastian was oxygen and Theron had been drowning his entire life. Kissed him with one hand tangled in his hair and the other arm banded around his waist like iron. Pulling him so close there was no space left between their bodies that Sebastian's mind went blank. His newly awakened wolf purred. Actually purred, and heat flooded through him in ways he'd never experienced, never even imagined. The king's scent surrounded him, claimed him, marked him as thoroughly as the kiss. When Theron finally pulled back, his eyes were fully crimson, his wolf at the surface and barely leashed, his breathing ragged. Meeting adjourned, Harker, the king said, his voice deadly soft. The council can wait. Your Majesty, the law, Theron interrupted, was written before I took this throne, and I've rewritten laws before. His smile was all teeth. Don't make me remind you how. Harker's face paled slightly, but his expression remained calculatingly neutral. As you wish, Your Majesty, but the council will expect a formal presentation within 3 days. The transcendent Omega must be evaluated. He emphasized the word like a threat. And if you refuse, we'll be forced to invoke Article 7 of the ancient laws. The council can declare a king unfit to rule if he's deemed compromised by an unstable mate bond. Harker's smile was poison. 3 days, Your Majesty. After that, the decision is out of your hands. The threat hung in the air like smoke. Theron's entire body vibrated with barely contained rage. For a moment, Sebastian thought the king might actually kill Harker right there. But instead, Theron swept Sebastian into his arms, literally lifted him off the ground like he weighed nothing, and started walking toward the royal procession, toward the massive black warhorse waiting with a guard of elite warriors. 3 days, then, Theron called over his shoulder, voice deadly calm. But Harker? If anything happens to him, if he so much as trips in my palace, I'll assume the council is responsible. And I'll respond accordingly. The warning was clear. Touch him, and as they mounted the horse, Sebastian pressed close to Theron's chest, and the king's arms wrapped around him like armor. Hold on to me, Omega. We're going home. The palace gates opened before they even reached them. Massive iron doors that required 10 wolves to move, swinging apart like the kingdom itself was bowing to its king. Sebastian had never seen anything like it. Stone towers stretched toward the sky, carved with ancient wolf imagery that seemed to move in the flickering torchlight. Gardens sprawled in every direction, meticulously maintained despite the late autumn chill. And wolves, hundreds of them, lined the courtyard in perfect formation, heads bowed, throats bared in submission as their king passed. But every single one of them stared at Sebastian with the same expression. What is he doing here? Sebastian pressed closer to Theron's chest, and the king's arm immediately tightened in response. Eyes down, Theron commanded, his voice carrying across the entire courtyard. All of you, now. Every head dropped instantly. This is Sebastian Lewton, my mate, your future king consort. Theron's voice was steel wrapped in silk. And if I catch anyone looking at him with anything less than absolute respect, I'll personally remove your eyes. Am I clear? Yes, Your Majesty. The response was instantaneous, unified, terrified. Sebastian's heart hammered. King consort. 2 hours ago, he'd been the kingdom's greatest shame. Now he was Breathe, Omega, Theron murmured against his ear as they entered the palace proper. I can feel your panic. It's making my wolf very unhappy. I don't. Sebastian struggled for words. I don't know how to be what you need me to be. Theron dismounted in one smooth motion, then lifted Sebastian down with the same careful strength he'd shown since the mate bond snapped. But instead of putting him down, he kept Sebastian cradled against his chest. Look at me. Sebastian did. Those golden eyes were softer now, less king and more. Mate, I don't need you to be anything except mine, Theron said simply. Everything else, the politics, the council, the title, that's my problem to solve. Your only job is to heal from 23 years of cruelty and let me take care of you. Something in Sebastian's chest cracked open at those words. I've never, his voice broke. No one's ever wanted to take care of me before. Theron's expression darkened with something that looked like rage, but Sebastian realized it wasn't directed at him. It was for everyone who'd failed him, everyone who'd hurt him. Then they were fools, Theron said softly. And I'm not. He carried Sebastian through corridors lined with priceless art, past guards who snapped to attention, up a grand staircase that probably cost more than Sebastian's entire village. And with every step, Sebastian felt the weight of his old life falling away. This is real. This is actually happening. Here, Theron said, shouldering open a door. My chambers. Our chambers now. Sebastian's breath caught. The room was enormous. Easily 5 times the size of the cottage he'd lived in his entire life. A bed large enough for 10 wolves dominated one wall, draped in furs and silks. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the mountain range. A fireplace big enough to walk into crackled with warmth. But what made Sebastian's wolf keen with longing was the scent. Pine and thunder. Safety. Home. Mate. Every surface was saturated with Theron's scent, and Sebastian's newly awakened instincts screamed at him to roll in it. Mark himself with it. Claim this space as theirs. Easy, Theron said, sounding amused. Your wolf is very close to the surface. I can see it in your eyes. They're doing that iridescent shimmer thing again. Sebastian flushed. Sorry, I'm not used to having a wolf. I don't know how to control. Don't apologize. Theron finally set him down on the bed, but immediately bracketed him with both arms, caging him in. I like seeing your wolf. I like knowing you're reacting to my scent. His voice dropped. I like knowing you want to mark yourself with it. Sebastian's face burned hotter. How did you? Because I want the same thing. Theron's nose traced along Sebastian's neck, inhaling deeply. I want to mark you, scent you, make sure every wolf in this kingdom knows exactly who you belong to. His teeth grazed Sebastian's throat. Not biting, just threatening to. But we have time, and you need food first. He pulled back, though Sebastian could see it cost him effort. When's the last time you ate? Sebastian tried to remember. Yesterday? Maybe? Theron's eyes flashed crimson. Yesterday. I was saving provisions for after the festival, Sebastian explained quickly. I didn't want to risk going to the market and getting stoned by your own people. Theron finished, voice deadly quiet. His jaw worked with barely suppressed rage. I watched that happen 3 days ago. Saw them throw rocks at you in the market square. Saw you bleeding. Saw you just take it, like you thought you deserved it. Sebastian froze. You saw. I see everything in my kingdom. Theron's hand cupped Sebastian's face, thumb tracing the spot where a stone had split his skin days ago. The cut was already healed, but the memory made his wolf snarl protectively. I almost intervened then. My wolf wanted to slaughter everyone in that square. But I couldn't understand why I cared so much about one Omega I'd never met. His eyes darkened with something that looked like regret and rage at himself. Now I know. You were already mine. The bond was already forming, even if it hadn't snapped yet. My wolf recognized you before I did. His voice dropped. If I'd acted 3 days ago, if I'd trusted my instincts instead of my logic, you wouldn't have ended up on that execution platform. That wasn't your fault, Sebastian said softly. Wasn't it? Theron's smile was bitter. I'm the king. I ordered that execution. I gave the command to cleanse the festival of defects. He spat the word like poison. I was going to kill you, Sebastian, my own mate, because I was too blind, too arrogant, too. Sebastian kissed him. It was clumsy, inexperienced, desperate, but effective. Theron's words cut off with a shocked sound before he groaned and took control, one hand sliding into Sebastian's hair as he deepened the kiss with careful hunger. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Sebastian pressed their foreheads together. You saved me, Sebastian said firmly. That's what matters. You saw me, really saw me, when no one else ever did. And you chose me. You claimed me in front of the entire kingdom. His voice strengthened. So stop blaming yourself for what almost happened and focus on what did happen. We found each other. Against all odds, against all logic, we found each other. Theron's eyes were suspiciously bright. How are you so wise after 23 years of hell? Maybe because I've had a lot of time to think, Sebastian said with a small smile. When you're invisible, you notice things. You learn things. And I learned that dwelling on what could have been is useless. The only thing that matters is what is. And what is? Theron asked softly. You and me. Together. Alive. Sebastian's smile widened. And I'm about to pass out from hunger. So maybe we should do something about that? Theron laughed. A real, genuine laugh that transformed his face from intimidating king to something softer, younger, happier. Yes, food. Absolutely. He moved to pull a cord beside the fireplace, then returned to settle beside Sebastian on the bed, pulling him close. But while we wait, there's something you need to know about Harker. Sebastian's brief moment of levity evaporated. What about him? He's more dangerous than he appears. Theron's voice was grim. Harker was my father's advisor before he was mine. He's been in the palace for 30 years. He knows every secret, every weakness, He stopped. He was there the day my father died. Sebastian's blood ran cold. You think I think my father's death was convenient for a lot of people, including Harker. Theron's jaw clenched. I was 25, young, inexperienced. The council thought they could control me, Harker especially, but I proved them wrong. I consolidated power, eliminated threats, and showed them that youth didn't mean weakness. His eyes met Sebastian's. But Harker never forgave me for not being the puppet he wanted. And now you've given him the perfect weapon. A transcendent Omega with legendary power, bonded to a king who just declared he'd burn the kingdom for you. His hand tightened on Sebastian's. He'll try to use you against me, or eliminate you to weaken me, or... A knock at the door interrupted him. Enter, Theron commanded, though his body remained tense, protective. The same kind-faced female beta from before entered, carrying an enormous tray of food. But this time, she was accompanied by a younger male Omega who kept his eyes respectfully lowered. Your Majesty, she said, bowing, I've brought food for both of you, and I took the liberty of assigning Finn here as Sebastian's personal attendant, if that's acceptable. The young Omega, Finn, looked up briefly, and Sebastian saw genuine warmth in his eyes. No judgment, no disgust, just kindness. I'm honored to serve you, Your Highness, Finn said softly. And I want you to know, not everyone in this palace believed the lies about you. Some of us saw the truth, saw how you were treated, and we're glad you're here. Glad you found your mate. Something tight in Sebastian's chest loosened slightly. Thank you, he whispered. That That means more than you know. Theron's expression softened as he watched the exchange. Thank you, Diane. And Finn, you report directly to me. Sebastian's safety and comfort are your only priorities. Understood. Yes, Your Majesty. Finn bowed deeply, then followed Diane out, leaving the tray behind. The moment the door closed, Sebastian's stomach growled loudly. Theron's expression melted into something almost tender. Come here, Omega. Let me feed you. I can feed myself. I know you can. Theron pulled him close, settling Sebastian between his legs with the tray in front of them. But I want to feed you. I want to take care of you. Indulge me. And somehow, Sebastian found himself being hand-fed by the Alpha King. Roasted meat that melted on his tongue. Fresh bread still warm from the ovens. Fruits he'd never even seen before. Sweet, tart, bursting with flavor. And through it all, Theron watched him with an intensity that should have been uncomfortable but instead felt like being seen for the first time in his life. Better? Theron asked after Sebastian had eaten his fill. Much better. Sebastian leaned back against Theron's chest, feeling safe and warm and full in ways that had nothing to do with food. Thank you. For all of this. For... His voice cracked. For choosing me. Theron's arms wrapped around him from behind, one hand splaying possessively across his stomach. I didn't choose you, Sebastian, Theron said quietly. The moon goddess did. The bond did. Fate did. His lips brushed Sebastian's ear. But even if none of that existed, even if there were no mate bonds, no prophecies, no divine intervention, I would still have chosen you. The moment I saw you on that platform, head held high even with a blade at your throat, I was already yours. Sebastian's eyes burned with unshed tears. I don't deserve you, he whispered. You deserve everything, Theron countered fiercely. And I'm going to spend the rest of our lives proving it. They sat like that for a long moment, wrapped in each other, the crackle of fire and their breathing the only sounds. Then Theron's voice turned serious. The council evaluation is in 3 days. Harker will try to make it as difficult as possible. He'll push you, test you, try to prove you're too dangerous or too unstable to be my mate. His arms tightened. But we're not going to face it unprepared. Tomorrow we start training. I'll teach you to control your shift, to summon your transcendent gift at will, to fight if necessary. I don't know if I can. You can. Theron turned Sebastian to face him, golden eyes burning with certainty. You shifted for the first time today, and already you have better control than wolves who've been shifting for years. You awakened a legendary gift and used it to save both our lives. You're strong, Sebastian. You just don't know it yet. Sebastian wanted to believe him, wanted to believe he could be strong enough, brave enough, legendary enough to stand beside a king. But doubt whispered in the back of his mind. What if you fail? What if the council is right? What if you destroy him? As if sensing his thoughts, Theron cupped his face with both hands. Listen to me. Whatever happens in 3 days, whatever the council throws at us, we face it together. You are my mate, my choice, my equal. His voice dropped to something fierce and possessive. And I will burn this kingdom to ash before I let anyone take you from me. Do you understand? Sebastian nodded, throat too tight for words. Good. Theron pressed a gentle kiss to his forehead, so different from the claiming kiss at the festival but no less meaningful. Now you need rest. Tomorrow we train. But tonight... His smile turned wicked. Tonight you sleep in my arms, in my bed, surrounded by my scent. And every wolf in this palace will know exactly who you belong to. Heat flooded through Sebastian at the possessive promise in those words. As Theron helped him undress and settled them both under the furs, Sebastian realized something that should have terrified him but instead felt like relief. He wasn't alone anymore. For the first time in 23 years, someone wanted him, protected him, chose him, And as he drifted off to sleep with the Alpha King's heartbeat steady beneath his ear and strong arms wrapped around him like armor, Sebastian allowed himself to hope. Maybe, just maybe, he really could be legendary. Sebastian woke to the sound of steel scraping against stone. Not a servant. Not a guard making rounds. Something else. Something wrong. Theron was already awake beside him, body coiled with tension, one hand reaching beneath the bed where Sebastian realized with a chill he'd hidden weapons. "Stay quiet," Theron breathed against his ear. "Someone's in the passage behind the east wall." Then the tapestry on the far wall rippled, and a section of stone swung inward. 5 figures emerged from the darkness. All shifted, all moving with predatory coordination. But the one in front made Sebastian's blood run cold. A massive gray wolf with scars covering half his face and eyes that gleamed with unnatural brightness. Enhanced. Magic strengthened. "Adrian Kane," Theron said, rising from the bed in one fluid motion, sword now in hand. His body positioned itself between the intruders and Sebastian. "Bold of you to enter my private chambers." The gray wolf shifted back to human, a mountain of muscle and scars. "Not bold, your majesty. Strategic." Adrian's voice was gravel and rust. "Harker sends his regards. The council has voted 11-1 to have him eliminated before the evaluation." Sebastian's heart stopped. 11-1. "The evaluation was never real," Adrian continued. "Just theater. Harker made me a better offer. Kill the king, bring him the Omega alive, and I get a council seat." His eyes slid to Sebastian with naked hunger. "Plus I get to keep the legendary Omega after they extract his power." "Extract?" Sebastian's voice came out strangled. "Ancient magic. Transfers a transcendent gift from one wolf to another. Usually kills the donor, but..." Adrian shrugged. "Acceptable losses." Theron's growl made the floor vibrate. "You'll die first." Adrian's wolf surged back, but bigger this time, muscles bulging unnaturally. "That was always the plan." He attacked. All 5 wolves moved as one, coordinated, professional, deadly. Theron met them with savage fury, his sword finding the throat of the first wolf instantly. Blood sprayed. The body collapsed. But 4 remained, flanking, driving Theron and Sebastian apart. "Shift!" Theron roared. "Sebastian, now!" Sebastian's wolf exploded to the surface, iridescent colors blazing as 2 wolves lunged for him. Light burst from his body on pure instinct, his transcendent gift slamming into them. They collapsed, convulsing. Adrian moved like lightning, his enhanced jaws closing around Theron's sword arm. Bone cracked audibly. "No!" Sebastian launched forward, his jaws finding Adrian's flank. His gift poured into the bite like liquid fire. Adrian's body convulsed, enhancement magic unraveling. The chamber door exploded inward. Reyna led a dozen elite guards into the room. All shifted, all ready for war. "Protect the Omega." The guards swarmed the remaining wolves while Reyna dove into the fight. Between 3 wolves and the transcendent gift burning through him, Adrian didn't stand a chance. He shifted back to human as his strength failed, collapsing in spreading blood. Theron, broken arm hanging useless, knelt beside the dying assassin. Who else? How many?
Adrian's life was wet, bubbling.
9 of them voted for this. 9 out of 12. Blood frothed at his lips. They'll keep coming. Too dangerous. Too powerful. His eyes found Sebastian. They're terrified of him. The last transcendent Omega killed thousands before their mate put them down like a rabid dog. His eyes went vacant. Dead. Sebastian shifted back, trembling. 9 council members wanted him dead. Theron stood slowly, his shattered arm hanging wrong. He's right. They won't stop. His voice cracked. The evaluation is a trap. Then we run, Sebastian said.
No.
Theron's voice was iron. I won't let them drive us out. This is my kingdom. His eyes blazed. And you are my mate. He turned to Reyna. We have a spy. Someone told them about the passage. I'll find them, Reyna said grimly. Good. But first... Theron crossed to Sebastian, cupping his face. There's a place. 3 hours north. My private estate. Only 5 people know it exists. We go there tonight. Your arm needs healing. My arm can wait. You can't stay here while we have a traitor feeding information to the council. His thumb traced Sebastian's cheekbone. I can protect you there while we figure out who to trust. He pressed their foreheads together. 9 council members conspired to murder my mate. That's treason. If the council wants war, I'll give them war. His voice turned fierce. But first I need you safe. And I need time to teach you how to survive what's coming. Okay, Sebastian whispered. We go. Reyna, prepare 3 horses. Fast ones. Tell no one where we're going. Yes, Your Majesty. Reyna moved to leave, then paused. What do I tell the council? Theron's smile was cold and sharp. Tell them the Alpha King has gone hunting. And when I return, there will be blood. The estate appeared through pre-dawn mist like something from a dream. Stone Manor wrapped in mountains, isolated and silent. We're safe here, Theron said as they dismounted. His broken arm was wrapped tight, but Sebastian could see the pain etched in every line of his face. No one can reach us. Inside, a fire already burned, Reyna's work. She'd arrived an hour before them, securing the perimeter. Rest, Your Majesty, Reyna said. I'll stand watch. But Theron didn't rest. The moment Reyna left, he turned to Sebastian with eyes that burned gold despite his exhaustion. We have 2 days before we return to face the council. 2 days to prepare you. His good hand cupped Sebastian's face. They'll try to kill you during the evaluation. I'm certain of it. So you need to learn control. Real control. Theron, you need to heal first. I'll heal faster than you'll learn. His voice softened. Please, Sebastian, let me do this. Let me give you the tools to survive. Sebastian nodded. They started at dawn. Shift, Theron commanded. Standing in the estate's training yard despite his injury. Show me how fast you can do it now. Sebastian closed his eyes, reaching for his wolf, and gasped as the transformation rippled through him in seconds. Smooth, effortless. Good. Again. Shift back. They practiced for an hour, human to wolf to human, until Sebastian could shift mid-step without breaking stride. Faster, Theron demanded. In a real fight, hesitation means death. Again. Sebastian shifted, his iridescent wolf appearing in a flash of light. Now hold the shift while moving. Run the perimeter. Don't let your form waver. Sebastian ran, his wolf legs eating up distance, and felt the raw joy of movement, of strength, of finally having a body that worked the way it should. When he returned, Theron's expression had softened with something like pride. Better. Now the hard part. Theron's eyes met his. Your gift. You've used it twice on pure instinct. But instinct won't save you when 3 alphas are trying to kill you. You need to summon it at will. He gestured to 3 training dummies across the yard. Light them up. Make them burn. Sebastian stared at the dummies. Reaching for that power he'd felt twice before. Nothing happened. I can't, Sebastian said, frustration mounting. I don't know how I did it before. You were threatened. Your mate was threatened. Your survival instinct triggered it. Theron moved closer despite his injury. But you're a transcendent Omega, Sebastian. That power isn't just defensive. It's part of you. You just need to find it. How? Close your eyes. Theron's voice dropped, soothing. Feel your wolf. Feel the bond between us. Feel that light inside you. It's always there, always burning. You just need to let it out. Sebastian closed his eyes, reaching inward. His wolf was there, strong and certain. And beneath that, something else. Something that pulsed with warmth and light and power. There. He opened his eyes, and light flickered around his human hands like static electricity. Good, Theron breathed. Now more. Don't just touch it. Embrace it. Let it flow. Sebastian reached deeper, and the light intensified, spreading up his arms, making his skin glow with iridescent colors. Now release it. The dummies. Make them feel it. Sebastian threw his hands forward, and light exploded from his palms in a wave of shimmering energy. It slammed into all three dummies simultaneously, and they burst into flames that burned with the same rainbow colors as his wolf. Yes! Theron's shout was triumphant. That's it. That's the power of a transcendent Omega. Sebastian stared at his hands, trembling with exhilaration and exhaustion. I did it. You did it. Theron pulled him close with his good arm. And now you're going to do it again, and again, until you can summon it without thinking, until it's as natural as breathing. They trained for 6 hours straight, summoning the gift, controlling its intensity, directing it at specific targets, maintaining it while moving, using it while shifted. By midday, Sebastian collapsed in the grass, every muscle screaming. Theron knelt beside him, offering water. You're doing better than wolves who've trained for years. It doesn't feel like it, Sebastian gasped. That's because I'm pushing you harder than anyone else would. Theron's expression turned serious. In 2 days, you'll face 3 of the Council's best fighters. They'll be trying to kill you, Sebastian. Not test you. Kill you. And they'll use every advantage, silver weapons to neutralize your gift, coordinated attacks, maybe even enhancement magic like Adrian used. Fear spiked through Sebastian's chest. Then how do I win? By being smarter, faster, more ruthless than they expect. Theron helped him sit up. Your gift is powerful, but it has limits. It drains you, so you can't just blast them with continuous light. You'll exhaust yourself. You need to be tactical. He pulled Sebastian to his feet. Again. But this time I'm attacking you. And you need to defend yourself without wasting energy. What followed was brutal. Theron, broken arm and all, came at Sebastian with the speed and strength of an alpha king. Not trying to actually hurt him, but not pulling his punches either. Sebastian had to shift, dodge, summon his gift in short, controlled bursts rather than massive waves. He failed. Over and over. Every time Theron's good hand caught him, every time he was too slow, every time he wasted power on an attack that missed, Theron made him start over. You're thinking like prey, Theron said after the 10th failure. Stop running. Stop defending. You're a transcendent Omega, you're the apex predator. So fight like it. Something clicked in Sebastian's mind. The next time Theron attacked, Sebastian didn't retreat. He shifted mid-dodge, his wolf form appearing in a flash, and instead of running he lunged forward. His jaws didn't aim for Theron, they aimed for where Theron would be. And when Theron moved to counter, Sebastian's gift exploded in a focus blast right into his path. Theron stumbled, surprised. That! Theron shouted, grinning despite nearly falling. That's what I want to see. Aggressive defense. Make them afraid to get close. They trained until sunset, until Sebastian could barely stand, until his gift flickered weakly and refused to summon. Enough, Theron finally said. You've done enough for today. Inside the manor, Theron heated water for a bath despite his injury, then helped Sebastian into it with surprising gentleness. You were incredible today, Theron murmured, washing blood and dirt from Sebastian's skin. In 1 day, you've learned what takes most wolves months. Because you're a terrible teacher who won't let me rest, Sebastian said, but he was smiling. Because you're extraordinary. Theron's hand stilled on his shoulder. And because you're mine, and I will not lose you to a council of cowards. That night, they slept tangled together, exhaustion pulling them both under. But Sebastian woke in darkness to find Theron thrashing beside him, his broken arm cradled to his chest, his face twisted with pain even in sleep. Sebastian pressed close, letting his scent, his Omega scent, wash over his mate. Theron's thrashing slowed, his breathing evening out, his body relaxing into Sebastian's warmth.
Mine, Sebastian's wolf whispered.
Protect, heal, love. Tomorrow they would train again. The day after, they would return to face the council's trap. But tonight, Sebastian held his mate and let himself believe they might actually survive this. The second day of training was worse. Theron's arm had healed enough to shift fully, and he showed Sebastian no mercy. 3 times Sebastian ended up pinned beneath his mate's massive black wolf, teeth at his throat, while Theron growled, "Dead, you're dead, again." But by sunset something had changed. Sebastian's wolf moved with confidence now, his gift responding instantly to his will. When Theron attacked the final time, Sebastian met him head-on, light blazing, jaws snapping, every move calculated. They crashed together in a tangle of fur and power, and for the first time Sebastian forced Theron back. "Yield!" Sebastian's wolf snarled, his gift blazing around them both. Theron shifted back to human, grinning despite being on his back in the dirt. "There he is. There's my legendary Omega." He pulled Sebastian down for a kiss, fierce and proud and full of heat. "You're ready," Theron said against his lips. "Tomorrow, you'll show the council exactly what a transcendent Omega can do." That night, as they packed to leave, Sebastian found Theron standing at the window, staring out at the mountains with an expression that looked like grief. "What if I can't protect you tomorrow?" Theron asked quietly. "What if they've planned something I can't counter?" Sebastian crossed to him, wrapping arms around him from behind. "Then I'll protect myself. You've given me the tools. Now trust me to use them." Theron turned in his arms, golden eyes searching his face. "I want to complete the bond. Tonight, before we go back. Before," his voice cracked, "before anything else can go wrong." "Theron, I know you want to prove yourself first. Want to pass the evaluation on your own merit." His hands cupped Sebastian's face. "But Sebastian, if something happens to me tomorrow, if Harker's plan works and I die, I need to know you're protected. A completed mating bond leaves a scar. Even if I'm dead, that scar marks you as claimed. It would stop other alphas from forcing a bond on you." The fear in his voice was raw, real. "Nothing's going to happen to you," Sebastian said firmly. "We're going to survive tomorrow. We're going to expose Harker. And then," he smiled, "then we'll complete the bond properly. Not in fear. Not in desperation. In victory." Theron's eyes glistened. "You're so certain." "I have to be. One of us has to believe we'll make it through this." Sebastian pulled him close. "And I do. I believe in you. In us. In this bond the moon goddess gave us." Theron kissed him, deep and desperate and full of unspoken promises. They left at dawn, riding hard toward the palace. Toward the trap they both knew was waiting. As the palace gates appeared on the horizon, Theron pulled his horse alongside Sebastian's. "Whatever happens in that arena," Theron said, voice carrying over the thunder of hooves, "remember, you're legendary, you're powerful, and you're mine." His eyes blazed gold. "Show them exactly what happens when they threaten an Alpha King's mate." The courtyard was packed when they arrived. Hundreds of wolves gathered to watch the evaluation. The council sat in formal robes on a raised platform, Harker at the center with a smile that promised nothing good. "Your Majesty," Harker called out, voice dripping false concern. "We were worried when you disappeared so suddenly, but I see you've returned for the evaluation. How responsible." His eyes slid to Sebastian with barely concealed hunger. "Shall we begin?" Theron dismounted, then helped Sebastian down with hands that lingered possessively. "The evaluation proceeds as planned," Theron said, his voice carrying across the courtyard. "But with one addition. I demand trial by council vote immediately after. 9 of you voted to have my mate assassinated. I want names, and I want justice." The crowd erupted in shocked murmurs. Harker's expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. "Baseless accusations, Your Majesty. The assassin you killed was acting alone. Adrian Kane confessed before he died. 9 council members. 11 to 1 vote." Theron's smile was cold. "So yes, the evaluation will proceed. Sebastian will prove his worth. And then we'll discuss which council members are traitors." Harker's mask finally cracked, just for a second, revealing the rage beneath. "Very well, Your Majesty. Let the evaluation begin." He gestured toward the Proving Grounds arena. 3 of our finest warriors await. If Sebastian can defeat them using only his transcendent gift, the council will accept your bond. His smile returned, sharper than before. "But if he fails, if he falls unconscious or yields, the bond will be severed by council magic, and you'll both be exiled. Mateless, powerless, broken." The crowd's roar was deafening, some cheering for Sebastian, others clearly hoping for his failure. Theron's hand found Sebastian's, threading their fingers together one last time. "Show them who you are," Theron whispered. "Show them what happens when they underestimate a transcendent Omega." Sebastian squeezed his hand, then walked alone toward the arena entrance, toward 3 warriors who wanted him dead, toward the fight of his life. The Proving Grounds were carved from solid stone, ancient, brutal, designed for fights to the death. Sebastian stood in the center, his heart hammering as thousands of wolves filled the observation tiers. And across from him 3 massive alphas stretched and prepared, each one easily twice his size, each one a trained warrior. These weren't random fighters. These were executioners. Harker stood, raising his hand for silence. "The rules are simple. Sebastian Lewton must defend himself against 3 challengers using only his transcendent gift. If he falls unconscious or yields, he fails." His smile was poison. "If he kills any of his opponents, he's deemed too dangerous and fails. He must incapacitate without killing. A nearly impossible task." Sebastian's blood ran cold. They'd designed this to be unwinnable. Theron's roar shook the arena. "That wasn't part of the original terms." "It is now," Harker said smoothly. "Or would you prefer we call the whole thing off and exile you both immediately?" The trap was sprung. Accept the impossible terms or forfeit everything. Theron's eyes met Sebastian's across the distance. Golden, burning with faith and fury and helpless rage. "Trust yourself," those eyes said. "I believe in you." Sebastian nodded once, then shifted his focus to the 3 alphas. 1 gray, 1 brown, 1 black as midnight, all of them watching him like wolves watched prey. "Begin!" Harker's voice cracked like a whip. The 3 alphas attacked simultaneously. Sebastian shifted mid-step, his iridescent wolf appearing in a flash, and his transcendent gift blazed to life on pure instinct. Light exploded outward in a defensive wave, catching all 3 attackers mid-lunge. They stumbled back, snarling, but didn't fall. These wolves were prepared. Their eyes held none of the shock Adrian's had shown. They'd trained for this. The gray alpha circled left while the brown circled right, boxing Sebastian in. The black alpha charged straight forward, a coordinated attack designed to overwhelm. Sebastian's training kicked in. "Don't defend. Tech." He lunged forward, not away from the black alpha but toward him, and his gift focused into a concentrated blast aimed at the wolf's legs. The black alpha's front paws buckled as light seared through muscle. He yelped and collapsed, temporarily paralyzed. 1 down. But the gray and brown alphas were already on him, jaws snapping at his flanks from both sides. Sebastian twisted, his smaller size suddenly an advantage, and dodged one set of teeth while his gift flared at the other. The brown alpha screamed as light caught him full in the face, blinding him. He stumbled away, pawing at his eyes. 2 down. The crowd roared, shock and excitement mixing. The gray alpha backed off, eyes calculating, reassessing. This wasn't going according to plan. Then the black alpha rose. Already recovered. Enhancement magic just like Adrian had used. These warriors weren't natural. They'd been magically strengthened specifically to counter Sebastian's gift. Horror shot through Sebastian. If they could recover that fast, he couldn't win by exhaustion. He'd drain himself first. The gray alpha shifted back to human, a scarred warrior with cold eyes. You're good, Omega. Better than expected. But you're still going to lose. He pulled something from behind his back. A silver blade, glowing with runes. Silver negates magic, the warrior said, smiling. Including yours. The crowd's cheers turned to angry shouts. That's cheating. Silver wasn't allowed. Disqualify them. But Harker's voice cut through the chaos. The rules said he must defend himself. They said nothing about what weapons his opponents could use. Theron was on his feet, eyes blazing crimson, his wolf barely leashed. That is not legal. Sit down, Your Majesty, Harker said coldly, or forfeit the match. The trap within the trap. Sebastian's wolf snarled, facing 3 enhanced warriors, 2 of whom now held silver blades. His gift couldn't touch the blades, couldn't neutralize them, His gift couldn't touch the blades, but it could touch the wolves holding them. An idea formed, reckless, dangerous, possibly brilliant. The 3 warriors attacked as one, silver blades flashing. Sebastian didn't retreat. He charged forward, his smaller wolf form diving low, under the sweeping blades, and his gift exploded not at the warriors but at the ground beneath their feet. Stone cracked under the onslaught of concentrated power. The arena floor buckled, and all 3 warriors stumbled, losing their footing. Sebastian was already moving, his wolf form a blur of iridescent light. He slammed into the brown alpha's legs. No gift, just physical force, and the warrior went down hard, his silver blade skittering away. Sebastian's jaws closed around the wolf's throat, not biting, just holding, while his gift poured directly into the brown alpha's body. Not a blast, a sustained flow. The warrior convulsed, enhancement magic burning away under the assault, and within seconds he went limp, unconscious, not dead. 1 down. For real this time. The gray and black alphas recovered, circling more carefully now. They'd seen what happened when they rushed in. Smart, the gray alpha said. But you're slowing. I can see it. Your light's dimming. How much longer can you keep this up? He was right. Sebastian could feel exhaustion creeping in, his gift draining him with every use. 2 warriors left, both enhanced, both armed with silver. If he couldn't outlast them, he had to outthink them. You know what your mistake was? Sebastian said, his first words since entering the arena, and was gratified to see both warriors pause in surprise at hearing an Omega speak during combat. You assumed I'd fight like a wolf. He shifted back to human. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Shifting back made him vulnerable, defenseless, an easy target. But it also freed his hands. The 2 alphas lunged, seeing an opening, their silver blades aimed for his chest. Sebastian's gift exploded from both palms simultaneously, not in a wave but in concentrated beams aimed directly at the warrior's eyes. Blinding light that bypassed their enhancement magic entirely because it wasn't attacking their bodies, it was attacking their vision. Both warriors screamed, dropping their blades to claw at their faces. Sebastian dove for the nearest silver blade, grabbed it despite the burning pain in his hand, and threw it with desperate strength. It spun through the air and caught the gray alpha in the shoulder. Not deep enough to kill, but deep enough to neutralize his enhancement magic. The runes carved into the silver disrupted the magic sustaining his strength. The gray alpha collapsed powerless. One warrior left. The black alpha, still blind from Sebastian's light, thrashed wildly. Dangerous, unpredictable. His claws caught Sebastian's side, tearing deep, and blood sprayed hot across the stone. Pain exploded through Sebastian's body, but he forced himself to shift, his wolf form appearing even as his blood stained the arena floor. His gift was flickering now, nearly depleted, but he had enough for one more strike. He limped toward the black alpha, who sensed him coming and lunged. Sebastian dropped flat, letting the massive wolf sail over him, then surged up beneath the alpha's exposed belly. His jaws found the vulnerable spot just below the ribs, and his gift, everything he had left, poured into the bite. The black alpha's howl cut off mid-sound as his body went rigid, then limp. Unconscious, Sebastian released him and collapsed beside the fallen warrior, blood pooling beneath his own body, his vision swimming, his gift completely exhausted. But conscious, still conscious. 3 warriors down, all alive, all defeated. Silence crashed over the arena like thunder. Then the crowd exploded, cheering, screaming, some crying. Sebastian had done the impossible. Theron vaulted over the arena wall, shifted mid-leap, and his massive black wolf crossed the distance in heartbeats. He shifted back to human and dropped to his knees beside Sebastian, hands hovering over the bleeding wound in his side. "You did it!" Theron's voice was choked. "You magnificent, impossible, legendary Omega. You did it." "Did I?" "Pass." Sebastian managed weakly. Theron laughed, a sound caught between joy and tears, and carefully, so carefully, lifted Sebastian into his arms. He turned to face the council, his eyes blazing crimson. "The evaluation is complete. My mate has proven his worth beyond any doubt." His voice carried across the arena. "Now, Harker, let's discuss those 9 votes." Harker's face had gone pale, but he recovered quickly. "The council will convene to discuss."
No.
Theron's voice was deadly soft. "We discuss it now, in front of these witnesses. You wanted proof Sebastian was dangerous? You just watched him defeat 3 enhanced warriors armed with silver. The only danger here is to traitors." His grip on Sebastian tightened. "So I'll ask once. Which council members voted to have my mate assassinated? Names. Now." The arena held its breath, and Sebastian, bleeding in his mate's arms, victorious and exhausted, finally let himself believe they might actually survive this. Harker stood slowly, his expression a mask of calculated composure even as the arena held its breath. "Your Majesty, these accusations are—" "Answer the question." Theron's voice cut like steel. "Which council members voted to assassinate my mate?" "I don't have to answer to." "You're right, you don't." Theron's smile was cold. "Because I already know." He shifted Sebastian carefully in his arms, then gestured to Reyna, who stepped forward holding a leather satchel. She opened it and pulled out documents, letters, sealed orders, signed confessions. "While you were preparing your little trap," Theron said, voice carrying across the arena, "I was preparing mine." Reyna spent 2 days investigating, searching homes, questioning servants, following gold transfers. His eyes locked onto Harker. "And we found everything." Reyna held up the first document. "Council Member Harker. 3 payments totaling 50,000 gold to Adrian Kane. Purpose listed as special contract." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Council Member Voss. Correspondence with Harker discussing the Omega problem and permanent solutions. More murmurs, louder now. Council members Dane, Thorne, Blackwood, Pierce, Chan, and Core all signed a private agreement stating They would vote to annul the mate bond and eliminate the transcendent Omega by any means necessary. The crowd erupted, shock, anger, betrayal mixing into chaos. Theron let the noise build, then raised his hand for silence. 9 council members, 9 traitors, all of whom conspired to murder an innocent Omega because they were afraid of his power, afraid of change, afraid, his voice hardened, of losing control. Harker's mask finally cracked. You don't understand. Transcendent Omegas are dangerous. The historical records prove it. The last one destroyed kingdoms, killed thousands. His eyes blazed with fanatical certainty. I was protecting the realm, protecting you from making a mistake that could cost us everything. By trying to kill my mate? Theron's growl made the ground vibrate. By sending assassins into my private chambers? By rigging an evaluation with silver weapons and enhanced warriors. It was necessary, Harker shouted, and Sebastian saw it now. The true face beneath the advisor's careful politeness. Fear. Desperation. The kind that made people justify anything. You were compromised, blinded by the mate bond. Someone had to act. You're right, Theron said quietly. Someone did have to act. He nodded to Reyna. 6 guards emerged from the crowd, each one moving toward a different council member. Voss tried to run, made it 3 steps before guards tackled him. Dane shifted, snarling, and was subdued with silver chains. One by one, the conspirators were captured. Only Harker remained standing, alone on the council platform. You can't do this, Harker said, voice shaking now. The council is protected by ancient law. You need a trial, evidence, formal proceedings. I have evidence. Theron's voice was iron. I have confessions. I have witnesses. His eyes swept the arena. And I have every wolf in this kingdom watching as I pass judgment. He turned to address the crowd, his voice carrying with the weight of absolute authority. For conspiracy to commit murder, for treason against the crown, for attempting to assassinate the king consort. He paused. The sentence is exile.
Permanent.
Irreversible. You have 1 hour to leave my territories. After that, you're fair game for any wolf who wants revenge for your crimes. Exile? Harker's laugh was bitter. You're showing mercy? After everything. I'm showing justice, Theron corrected. Death would be easier. Exile means you live with your failure. Live knowing that the Omega you tried to kill is standing beside the king you tried to manipulate. Live knowing you lost. His smile was sharp. And trust me, Harker, that will hurt far more than any execution. Guards moved in, surrounding Harker and the other conspirators. Take them to the border, Theron commanded. Strip them of titles, lands, and pack bonds. They are no longer wolves of this kingdom. As Harker was led away, he looked back one last time. Not at Theron, but at Sebastian, still bleeding in the king's arms. You'll destroy him, Harker said, voice hollow. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but that power inside you, it will consume everything. And when it does, when the madness takes you like it took the others, he'll have no choice but to kill you himself. His eyes held something that looked almost like pity. I hope you're worth the kingdoms you'll burn. Then he was gone, dragged away by guards, and Sebastian was left with those words echoing in his mind. What if Harker's right? What if I do go mad? What if my power does consume me? Stop! Theron's voice pulled him back. I can feel your fear through the bond. Whatever he said, it's lies. Manipulation. One last attempt to drive a wedge between us. He pressed their foreheads together. You are not your power. You are not the legend. You're Sebastian. My mate. My choice. And nothing, not prophecies, not history, not fear, will change that. Sebastian's eyes burned. How can you be so certain? Because I know you. Theron's thumb traced his cheekbone. I've seen your heart, your strength, Your kindness despite everything they did to you. That's who you are. That's who you'll always be. The remaining council members, the three who'd voted against the assassination, approached cautiously. The eldest, a silver-haired woman named Mara, bowed deeply. Your Majesty, King Consort, on behalf of the loyal council, we formally recognize your bond. Her voice was steady. And we pledge to serve with honor and integrity. The corruption ends today. Theron nodded. See that it does, Counselor Mara, because next time I won't show mercy. He looked down at Sebastian, concern overriding everything else. Now my mate needs healing. This evaluation is over. He carried Sebastian from the arena to thunderous applause. Wolves who'd mocked Sebastian days ago now chanting his name, celebrating the Omega who'd proven everyone wrong. But Sebastian barely heard them. His wound throbbed, his gift was depleted, and exhaustion pulled at him like a tide. Stay with me, Theron murmured. We're almost there. Just stay with me. Not going anywhere, Sebastian whispered. You're stuck with me now. Theron's laugh was wet with relief. Thank the moon goddess for that. The royal healer worked quickly, stitching Sebastian's wound with practiced efficiency, while Theron hovered like an anxious shadow. He'll be fine, Your Majesty, the healer said gently. The wound looks worse than it is. No vital organs hit. He'll be sore for a few days, but he'll heal. A few days. Theron's voice was rough. That's not acceptable. Use accelerated healing. Whatever it costs. Theron. Sebastian caught his hand.
I'm okay.
It's just pain.
I've survived worse.
Something in Theron's expression cracked. You shouldn't have to survive anything. Not anymore. Not while I'm here to protect you. You did protect me. You gave me the tools to protect myself. Sebastian squeezed his hand. We won. Together. The healer finished bandaging and quietly left, closing the chamber door behind her. Silence settled between them, thick with unspoken emotion, with everything they'd been through, with everything they still needed to say. I thought I'd lost you, Theron finally said, his voice barely above a whisper. When that blade caught your side, when you fell, for a moment I thought, he couldn't finish. But you didn't lose me. Sebastian pulled him closer. I'm here. We're here. And Harker's gone. The council's purged. We're safe. For now. Theron's jaw clenched. But there will be others. Other wolves who fear your power. Other conspiracies. Other. Sebastian kissed him, cutting off the spiral of worry. Then we faced them. Together. Like we faced everything else. He pulled back slightly. But right now, in this moment, we're alive. We're bonded. And we have the rest of our lives ahead of us. His hand found Theron's chest, feeling the steady heartbeat beneath. I want to complete the bond. Tonight. Not because I'm afraid. Not because we need protection. But because I choose you. I choose us. I choose this. Theron's eyes blazed gold, his wolf surging beneath his skin. Are you certain? Your wound is already healing, and I've never been more certain of anything in my life. Sebastian's voice strengthened. I love you, Theron. I want to be yours completely, in every way possible. Something fierce and possessive and infinitely tender crossed Theron's face. Then let me make you mine, Omega. Let me give you everything. He kissed Sebastian, deep and claiming and full of promises, and his hands were everywhere, gentle despite the hunger in his eyes, careful of the bandaged wound but possessive everywhere else. I love you, Theron breathed against his skin. From the moment I saw you on that platform, you've been mine, and I've been yours. And tonight we make it permanent. They moved together, slowly, carefully, perfectly. And when Theron's teeth finally sank into Sebastian's throat in the traditional mating bite, the bond crashed through both of them like lightning. Sebastian felt everything Theron felt. The desperate love, the fierce protectiveness, the absolute certainty that Sebastian was his entire world. And underneath it all, the vulnerability, the fear of losing him, the wonder that the moon goddess had given him someone so perfect. "You're everything," Sebastian thought through the bond, and felt Theron's shock and joy that he could hear it so clearly. "You saved me,
Chose-me.
made me feel worthy for the first time in my life." Theron pulled back, blood on his lips, his eyes wild with emotion. "Your turn, Omega. Claim me. Make me yours." Sebastian's wolf rose to the surface, not fully shifting, just enough that his teeth sharpened, and he bit down on Theron's throat, claiming his mate the same way he'd been claimed. The bond sealed with a flash of iridescent light that burst from Sebastian's skin, wrapping around both of them, weaving their souls together in a way that was permanent, unbreakable, eternal. Through the bond, Sebastian felt the exact moment Theron's wolf accepted him completely, felt the king's overwhelming relief and joy and love. When the light faded, they were gasping, tangled together, marked as mates for the rest of their lives. "I can feel you," Theron whispered, wonder in his voice. "Everything you feel, everything you are. It's—" He couldn't find words. "Perfect," Sebastian finished. "It's perfect." They completed the bond in the ancient way, bodies moving together, souls intertwined, two halves becoming whole. And when they finally collapsed together, exhausted and satisfied and completely, utterly bonded, Sebastian felt something he'd never felt before. Peace. "No more running," Theron murmured against his hair. "No more hiding. No more threats." His arms tightened. "You're mine.
I'm yours.
And nothing will ever separate us again." Sebastian smiled, his hand finding the fresh mate mark on Theron's throat, mirror to the one on his own neck. "Forever," he whispered. "Forever," Theron agreed. And as they drifted into sleep, wrapped in each other, the mate bond humming between them like a song, Sebastian finally let himself believe in happily ever after. 3 months later, Sebastian stood on the palace balcony, watching the sunrise paint the mountains gold, and marveled at how different everything was. 3 months ago he'd been nobody, broken, unwanted, scheduled for execution. Now he wore the formal robes of king consort, bore the mate mark of an alpha king, and was respected throughout the kingdom as the transcendent Omega who changed everything. "What are you thinking about?" Theron's arms wrapped around him from behind, his chin resting on Sebastian's shoulder. "How strange life is," Sebastian said softly. "How one moment can change everything. The moment I roared, 'Mate', the moment you saw me." Sebastian turned in his arms, smiling up at his mate. "Really saw me. Not the broken Omega everyone else saw, but me." Theron's expression softened into something tender. "I'll never stop seeing you, Sebastian. Never stop choosing you. Never stop loving you." He kissed him, gentle and sweet, so different from those early desperate kisses but no less meaningful. A knock at the door interrupted them. "Enter," Theron called, though his arms remained around Sebastian. Finn stepped in, bowing respectfully. "Your Majesties, the delegation from the Eastern Territories has arrived. They're requesting an audience with the king consort." Sebastian's eyebrows rose. "With me. Word has spread about your gift," Theron explained, pride clear in his voice. "About how you can heal broken wolves. Wolves who've been damaged by abuse, by trauma, by being told they're worthless," Sebastian finished quietly. "Like I was." Over the past 3 months, Sebastian had discovered something unexpected about his transcendent gift. It could heal more than just physical wounds. When he used his power on wolves who'd been psychologically damaged, rejected Omegas, abused pack members, wolves who'd lost their will to shift, something in his light could reach the broken places inside them and help them heal. It wasn't a cure, but it was hope, and sometimes hope was enough. The Eastern Territories have 3 Omegas who haven't shifted in years, Finn continued. Their alpha is hoping you might help them. Sebastian looked at Theron, who nodded encouragingly. It's your choice. Always your choice. But Sebastian, you're changing the kingdom. One broken wolf at a time. And I've never been more proud of you. Then I'll see them, Sebastian decided. This afternoon. After the council meeting. Finn bowed and left. Theron pulled Sebastian close again, his hands splaying possessively across his stomach. You're amazing, you know that? I'm just doing what I wish someone had done for me. Sebastian leaned into his mate's warmth, seeing the broken wolves, helping them heal, showing them they matter. That's what makes you legendary, Theron murmured. Not the power, not the prophecy, but your heart, your compassion, your refusal to let cruelty break you. They stood like that for a long moment, wrapped in each other, the mate bond humming contentedly between them. The new council is working well, Theron said eventually. Mara's proving to be an excellent chief advisor. The territories are stable. The old bloodlines have accepted our bond. His voice turned wry. Some even seemed pleased about it. Apparently, a king who'd burn the kingdom for his mate makes other mated pairs feel seen. Sebastian laughed. You've become a romantic hero. How does that feel? Uncomfortable. Theron's smile was crooked. But worth it, because it means no one questions our bond anymore. No one doubts your place beside me. And Harker? Sebastian asked quietly. Last report had him in the northern wastes. Alone. Mateless. Powerless. Theron's voice held no sympathy. Exactly what he deserves. Sebastian thought about that. About the man who tried so hard to destroy them, now living with his failure, and found he felt nothing.
No anger. No hatred.
Just indifference. Harker didn't matter anymore. That part of their story was over. Come on, Theron said, taking his hand. We have a kingdom to run, broken wolves to heal, and a council meeting that will probably bore us both to tears. The glamorous life of royalty, Sebastian teased. Worth every boring moment, Theron countered. As long as you're beside me. They walked back inside together. King and king consort, Alpha and Omega. Two wolves who'd found each other against impossible odds and built something beautiful from the ashes of cruelty and fear. Below them, the kingdom woke to a new day. A better day. One where broken wolves could become legendary. Where the unwanted could become irreplaceable. Where love could conquer fear. And in the royal chambers, two mate marks gleamed in the morning light. Permanent proof that some bonds were strong enough to change the world. What did you think? Drop a comment telling me your favorite moment. Was it the execution scene that started it all? The brutal training? The impossible arena fight? I want to know. And hey, if you loved Sebastian and Theron's journey from broken to legendary, make sure you're subscribed because there are so many more emotional stories coming your way. Hit that subscribe button and let me know where you're watching from. Until next time, beautiful souls, remember, you're not broken, you're just waiting for your moment to shine.